On this week's episode of The Video Store, Frank does everyone a simple favor. Josh takes a trip to the Twilight Zone. And finally, we Shazam our pants over DC's newest superhero.
Malkovich, bitches! Welcome to the Video Store podcast, where every week we review movies and TV shows that we've watched, as well as look ahead at what's streaming, on demand, out for rental, and in theaters this week. My name is Frank.
My name is Josh.
What's going on, man? Let's start the show with thoughts and trailers.
Oh, wow. That build-up.
That pause was so pregnant.
It hurt me bad.
The first trailer you brought to my attention, Josh, is Domino. This is a film, a crime thriller that's going to be out May 31st. Tell us a little bit about Domino.
Well, it seems like a one-off of a weird gang-like movie, but anything really with Jaime Lannister, I'm down to watch. I always like to see what the Game of Thrones people are doing outside of Game of Thrones. So, Brian De Palma, though, was an interesting, I did not think that he would do a Saban film, which I think this was released by. I think they funded it.
Yeah, this is Brian De Palma hasn't done anything in quite some time. Yeah, it's been 7 years, and it was Passion, and I didn't watch it. That was with my girl Rachel McAdams.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know. It seems like this has a pretty sweet cast. It's about a police officer seeks justice for, all that kind of stereotypical cliche stuff we've seen before. But Guy Pearce, also a big fan. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. I'm open.
Yeah, it's definitely under the radar, which is a shame. I mean, he's one of the greatest directors, one of the most influential. A lot of the directors we celebrate the most now have definitely borrowed stuff from him, and it's kind of just going under the radar. Maybe it gets like a little theatrical release, but it's not going to be huge. I really hope that it's good, because I'd like to see him, get a couple more good films out there towards the end of his career. For sure. Yeah. See what happens. Up next is a HBO miniseries coming out in May titled Chernobyl. It's going to be 5 episodes. It's based on a true story, obviously. The April 1986 explosion at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant in USSR becomes one of the world's worst man-made catastrophes. What'd you think of the trailer?
I think that it is very cinematic and done very well. I'm a big fan of Stellan Skarsgård. He is very, very a character actor that I think fills this really scientist with some other hidden motivations very well. I don't know. I think it'll be cool. It's also, we know that this event happened. How much do we know? And how much is this going to placate the true story as opposed to some Hollywood cinematic non-existent universe? Yeah,
I don't know much about it. It's been done in like a horror movie sense. Like it's
right.
Been exploited almost every way you can exploit a real life tragedy like that. In addition to a Skarsgård, which is always good to have one of those, you got Jared Harris and Emily Watson, 2 other really good character actors. So
I think it'll be cool. I think it'll be very powerful and probably another good thing from HBO. They put out really good stuff usually.
On to what we've watched. This is where Josh and I review the films.
We Revelia.
Yeah, and the English language. And we have a very simple grading system. We either tell you don't do it, take it or leave it, which is where we, kind of like something, but there's some qualifiers with our review. And finally, an employee pick, which means, we like this. We're highly recommending it.
Go watch it.
Yeah. I finally saw A Simple Favor. It's on digital and VOD right now. This is the film starring Anna Kendrick and... Man, I'm just brain fart here. Blake Lively. And the plot synopsis for this one is that Stephanie...
is this the one they make out?
No. They maybe tease that in the trailer. Stephanie is a single mother with a parenting vlog who befriends Emily, a secretive upper-class woman who has a child at the same elementary school. Emily goes missing, and Stephanie takes it upon herself to investigate. So, yeah, it's one of those like con artist type mystery movies. Anna Kendrick plays like a very shy, unassuming mother, and Blake Lively is just like really cool. And there is some chemistry between them, and just their performances individually and their chemistry is the main appeal of the movie. Everything else around it I thought was pretty mediocre or worse. Like, it just didn't really have the cool twists and turns, wasn't as fun as you were led to believe, and kind of did a thing where it's just like explaining like how everyone is bad or cool instead of just like showing it in film.
Right.
Yeah. So it didn't really live up to the poster and the trailer or, my imagination. And a lot of reviews I saw were good for this. So it's a take it or leave it for me. If you're a big fan of Blake Lively and Anna Kendrick, you'll probably like it. And some people just really like that those two got a, starring role and got to play these interesting characters. But I just thought everything around them wasn't good enough.
Okay. Well, I haven't seen it. Maybe it's something I got to check out just to validate that.
Yeah, if you're fans of them, you'll enjoy it enough. Like, it wasn't boring, but just felt like a missed opportunity when you have those two together. And something that should have been a lot more fun and a lot more smart to unfold. Like,
a lot more smart.
A lot more smarter. But like, it wasn't. It was just kind of generic, man, and it didn't have the good twists and turns. There was no moment where I was surprised. You just saw everything coming.
Well, that is a perfect segue into what I saw about twists and turns. I've seen the first couple episodes of The Twilight Zone.
Nice.
The Twilight Zone.
You seen two?
Yeah, so far. Okay. The first one's called The Comedian. And as I remember it, The Twilight Zone had a lot more of a horror feel to it.
Yeah, but there's like some creepy, just some of them are just creepy, like, paranoia, suspense, where they take like everyday life stuff and just add some creep to it.
Yeah, so I feel like this is, if anything, like a really toned down version of Black Mirror. The stories are average. They have great actors that take on these roles so far for the stories.
Very likable people too. Like from the trailer, I saw Camille, I saw Adam Scott.
Right, and that's the first two episodes.
Walking Dead. God, I'm so terrible. I forgot his name. Steve Yeun.
Right.
All like the most likable people in acting.
Yeah, and that's what makes you really think that these are going to be really, really interesting one-offs. But I don't know if it's that CBS. It's maybe toned down. It just seemed like these stories were really just weak, and you saw it coming. So the first one's The Comedian, and it's with Camille. And if you not familiar with him, Silicon Valley, stuff like that. But he's really just a hilarious guy. So the idea that he's got to play this failed comedian it was an okay stretch. It wasn't anything big, but Tracy Morgan shows up in the first 5 minutes and he's like kind of the voodoo type, there's something going on with him. Something's not right. Mm-hmm. And he's like, oh, he's this famous comedian and where'd you go? You disappeared. And then he kind of like lays down the rules of whatever game that he's kind of laying into him here. But I just feel like the twists were weak. The stories didn't really sell an amazing paranoia or horror feel, and you just kind of saw everything coming somewhat. I mean, it very toned down twists, and so far still watchable, but nothing amazing that I thought this was going to be. I thought this was going to be maybe Jordan Peele would have more impact on the story and not just the narrator portion of it, but I guess not.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because the burden doesn't come from it being a remake of The Twilight Zone, which is one of the most famous TV shows ever. It's like a reference, a genre in itself where people will explain like a real life event or a movie or another show and say it's like a Twilight Zone episode. Like that's in our common vernacular. But I think it's more of a burden coming off of Black Mirror, which is probably a major reason why this show got revived because of the popularity of Black Mirror. But it's just, like you said, it's got the sitcom issues where it's holding it back. It has to fit into the mold. There's certain things they're not going to show on network TV, and it holds it back from what Black Mirror is going to do. And so if it's just like a watered down Black Mirror, that's disappointing, especially considering Jordan Peele being involved and how creative he can be.
That's basically where I'm at. So I'm going to say take it or leave it. Still something in your free time you want to throw something on, but it's not going to blow your mind. It's not going to be reliving new things that you would hope that it was going to be.
Cool. And yeah, just keep us updated as you keep watching that. It's something that I was looking forward to, but with your like lukewarm review, I'll probably just wait and see how the season turns out and maybe just cherry pick some episodes.
That's another thing. Maybe there will be another episode that blows my fucking mind since they're all different stories. But so far, meh.
Yeah, that's a good thing about anthologies. You can just check if you don't like an episode. There's usually not any information you're going to need to continue watching the TV show, so you can just skip it.
Right. Right.
I finally checked out Shadow of the Vampire. This is from 2000. Have you ever seen this movie?
No, it sounds like something that you would watch while wearing all black in a dark room with a candle.
So, oddly enough, the reason why I never watched this was the cover art, which is like before the internet was prominent. There was IMDb back then, but there wasn't as many movie sites and there wasn't like movie culture online. The cover art I remember just looking very melodramatic and totally not what this film was. So I'll tell you what it's about. It's based on the filming of the 1922 version of Nosferatu. And in this version of the story, they take a conspiracy theory that Max Schreck, the actor who played Nosferatu, was actually a vampire. Like his role and the makeup and the costume looked so believable that there was a rumor going around that he was actually like a vampire or a monster. So this takes that and creates a situation where the director of the film has made a deal with an actual vampire to play the role, to create something for science and art, and it's creates a serious problem because this vampire just has a snack attack every once in a while and is just like fucking offing people during the production of the film. And I know you like a good cast, Josh. I know you're gonna love this cast. John Malkovich plays the director. Frederick Wilhelm Murnau. He's a famous director who's was catapulted by this movie. Max Schreck, Nosferatu, is played by Willem Dafoe. So right there, right there I'm in. But you also got Udo Kerr, Carrie Ells, Eddie Izzard, and Catherine McCormick, just a great cast.
Carrie Ells, Men in Tights.
And one done right. Like Ed Wood is another one of my favorite movies. Like doing a film about making film, Ed Wood, Bowfinger, can be one of my favorite genres or topics. And this one's really good. I'm glad that I've taken this long to watch it because it's so hard to find new interesting stuff on this level. But yeah, this is an employee pick for me. Right now, it's just available on Hoopla, and oddly enough, PlayStation 4, you can rent it and buy it off of there, but that's the only place I can see you can find it. Or if you can find a DVD, but if you're a fan of Malkovich, Willem Dafoe, or just, a horror and the history of horror movies, it's well worth a watch, and something I think you would definitely enjoy too, dude, because I know how you are with certain actors.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
All right, I'll go next.
Yeah, I got enough. I couldn't watch as much stuff as you, Frank.
Well, full disclosure, you're being you're sacrificed for the podcast. You saw Pet Sematary. We're going to talk about that next week. So,
why would you? Spoiler alert, Frank.
Yeah,
spoiler alert.
Just a little tease. But I also saw the documentary Three Identical Strangers on Hulu. Have you heard about this movie?
No.
Yeah, it's a little before our time. And it's free on Hulu. You can rent it for 99 cents also on a lot of services. They tend to put those rentals on sale when they debut on streaming services. Anyways, in 1980 New York, three young men were all adopted, and they meet each other and find out they're triplets. This was unknown to them, separated at birth. But their quest to find out why turns into a bizarre and sinister mystery. So this is a big deal, when we were little kids or before we were even born. But how it played out was one of the guys went to college, and everyone was talking to him like they knew him and was just messing with him. He comes to find out he signed up and joined a college that his brother was already at. And it became a big deal. It was on the news. They had appearances on Donahue and, did the news circuit for all the big shows in the 80s. And then someone's like, oh my God, this looks like my adopted son. Turns out there are three of them. And they become the toast of the town. They're celebrities. So they go through all the 1980s, celebrity pitfalls. They start a restaurant in New York. They're famous playboys in New York City and all that stuff. Sex, drugs, rock and roll. They're regulars at Studio 54 and all that shit. But as they look into it, it was awesome. The way this documentary unfolds, and I don't know how much they knew going in, but you have the one story that was just interesting enough. But then as it starts to unfold and they peel back the layers, it gets even more interesting. And
bum, bum, bum.
Like I said, more sinister. So all the parents go to the adoption place and, ask, how come we were never told about this? We would have, been interested. And the adoption place's first answer to this was that, we thought it'd be more difficult for us to adopt all 3 children. And that still upset some parents because, people that adopt children just have hearts of gold. Like, they're unlike us. They're like, they have compassion and love for
what is us?
Humanity, like average douchebags that have movie podcasts.
Oh.
So they have this conversation. They don't feel good about it. And one of the fathers forgets his umbrella and goes back in, and he sees, like, out of a fucking, movie, people cracking open a bottle of wine and cheering like they just got away with something. Okay? And I don't want to spoil what it is, but yeah, there's some dark reasons why these children were split up. And this movie goes into all of that, plus how it affects their lives and other people, and just like the guinea pig shit they did to these children and how these families were selected. It's fascinating, dude. It has like a little bit of everything. Like, you have this great story that brings this family together and their relationships, and they go in depth with the relationships between the brothers and their parents, and as well the families that they built. It's really good. Doesn't come off as exploitative at all, because you have the brothers talking throughout the film and kind of narrating the story and taking the story at times in the direction they want it to go. But yeah, just something really, really cool, and I think most people would enjoy it. So it's another employee pick for me.
Oh, well, you're just liking everything that you've seen.
Well, yeah, I try to be better. Almost. I know sometimes you step on a grenade and watch something terrible, and I've done that too. But
I still haven't watched Paparazzi.
Yeah, but you went back and watched something that I'm willing to call a classic. One of my favorite dark comedies, Observe and Report,
really good.
Is on Netflix. Seth Rogen, Michael Pena, right?
Yes.
Tell the people why they should either see this movie for the first time and they've missed out for the past 10 years, or why they should rewatch it if they have fond memories of it.
Okay, so if you don't know what it's about mall security guard Ronnie Barnhart, and he is called into action to stop a flasher from turning Shopper's Paradise into his personal peep show. What a terrible tagline. Probably also didn't help the movie any, because that has minimal to do with the movie. I feel like there's an underlying tone that this flasher guy shows up and flashes Anna Faris, and it kind of exists, but it's really about this character who just sees the world in this most ridiculous way. This is directed by Jody Hill, by the way, if you weren't familiar. So, of course, Danny McBride shows up at some point, and it's great, per usual. But this movie, if you haven't seen it before, it's a great time to watch it now, sometime far away from Paul Blart Mall Cop, because when that was released, this came out very shortly after, and I feel like people were looking for the same thing in that movie, and that is not what this is.
I mean, they're both comedies, but on the range of comedy, like, you got wholesome, Kevin, what's his face, and James, yeah, just like just slot, like fast food type comedy, just not hard thinking at all, and then just this bizarrely over the top dark comedy that really fucking out there, man. Like, it's
fucked up. You got Patton Oswalt making fun of people, like handicapped people. You got Aziz Ansari like touching people inappropriately while putting lotion on their hands, and then has like the most hilarious like nemesis relationship with Seth Rogen. Fuck you, Ronnie. Fuck you. Fuck you, Ronnie. Fuck you. Fuck you, Ronnie. So good. And Ray Liotta is hilarious as the actual cop who comes in and deals with this distorted perception because someone's robbing the mall and they're also dealing with this flasher. So Seth Rogen acts like he's like a detective on the scene. And Ray Liotta's like, what the fuck, dude? This is ridiculous. And at one point curses him out like so bad. It's pretty epic. Use your inside voice. We could do that. We can all hear.
It's an amazing cast. I mean, I get some people aren't going to dig this because Jody Hill's an acquired taste. You probably know him mostly from Eastbound and Down, or
it's so good.
Vice Principals. The Foot Fist Way, I think, is excellent. That's like, to me, that's Danny McBride's Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah, dude, like, honestly, I think he just kills it with hitting, like, new comedic notes and new things that you would be like, wow, that is ridiculous, and it's still funny. And not repeating the same old gags that we deal with and stuff. And also, it hit on so many different levels of somber notes, and then something really awkward and hilarious may happen, or something that was more a little jaw dropping at points, like the whole scene where he goes on the date with Anna Faris.
Yeah, I love her too. Like, it sucks that she's just not getting the roles she deserves, because I think she's one of the funniest actors. Like,
so somebody was saying it was because she got work done or something. I don't know.
Stupid. She's still funny. I don't understand.
A lot of people get work done and still work. I don't know. I would agree. She's fucking. She was pretty fucking hilarious. She's great at that bitchy presence as well. Like,
oh yeah, like she just plays him like. So.
Yeah. No, oh my God, it's so ridiculous. But if you haven't seen it, go watch it. Michael Pena at his best with fucking soul glow hairstyle, fucking giant fucking perm that's so great. And their drug scene where they do drugs and go through and work a day at the mall is probably one of the best, people being fucked up and doing shit scenes you'll ever watch.
Yeah, I just love what Danny McBride does. I love his sense. I mean, Jody Hill.
That's my son.
Jody Hill, I'm sorry. But like his sense of humor, he takes these like hyper specific scenarios, like, karate instructor at a strip mall security cop, and it's like blue collar, and at first you think that he's just, piling in on these people. Like, these are easy targets, and he's exploiting them, he's laughing at them, but then he always pulls the real humanity out of those people, like, in a fucked up way. So I think he's great.
The only thing not to like, though, is Seth Rogen's hair is so fucking weird being so short. I went and looked at him in Freaks and Geeks, and I was like, that's basically what he looks like, just a little puffier.
Yeah, Donnie Darko, too, he had, like, that short hair. I don't know if that was his choice or what.
Ugh. God, and I know he chose that weird ass hairstyle for this, but that was the most awkward thing about the movie.
Yeah. Sidebar: did you ever see The Legacy of a White-Tailed Deer Hunter? It's a Netflix movie that Jody Hill did. It's like his most recent thing.
No, it sounds kind of familiar though.
Yeah, I heard. I have another friend who's really big into Jody Hill, and he was so disappointed by it that I just pushed it off. Probably not going to watch it. I was hoping you had something good to say about it.
I'm sorry, I do not know.
I do not know. So that's an employee pick, right? I don't know if you said it.
Oh, absolutely. It's definitely something that will fill some time with some very awkward, fucked up scenes. They're super fun.
We need some dark humor every once in a while. So speaking of directors we're fans of, and I know Yorgos Lanthimos, you at least enjoy one of his films.
Yorgos Lanthimos.
You're just a big fan of The Lobster, right? You still haven't seen Killing of a Sacred Deer or The Favorite?
I did see The Favorite.
Okay, cool. And you like that one as well?
Yeah, I dug it. It was cool.
So he has a bunch
I love when they were fucking racing ducks.
Yeah. I love that movie. I just love the energy of it. Those just 3 amazing performances. So I checked out Dogtooth, which was the film he did right before The Lobster. It's on Kanopy and Hoopla. 2 of my favorite services. And this one is about 3 teenagers who live isolated without being allowed to leave their house because their overprotective parents say they can only leave when their dog tooth falls out.
What's a dog tooth?
I think it might just be like your fangy tooth, like your vampire-ish tooth. You got the front 2. And then your incisors? Yeah. I didn't go to dental school, I'm sorry. But it comes up later on in the film. This leans more towards his fucked up nature. This movie is a hard watch, especially at first, but I love shit like this because it's so creative. It deals with incest though, and that might be a trigger for some people. But it's, the parents create this crazy world. They have a big house and a big yard, and one of the things they do is they convince, and these teenagers are towards the end of adolescence. These are 16, 17, 18-year-olds, not 11 or 12. And they're
good, because that'd be even more awkward.
Yeah, well, they look up at airplanes, and the parents drop toy airplanes and convince them that's what it was. That's what they saw. I guess in a Truman Show kind of way, they want to take away the idea that there's anywhere to go. And there's this fucked up scene with a cat.
Parenting, man. It's fucked up.
They act like cats are the most vicious things, and they also do this thing where
how dare they? I love my cat.
I guess they they have people come in, outsiders, to have like sex with the kids. I guess to,
What?
like, yeah, just to manage like their sex drive or whatever. They like any outside influence is like carefully fucking handpicked, and they have some interactions with them. But whenever they learn other words, they give other meanings to them, and they even have like daily audio tapes where they listen to like new words, and it's like for example, a zombie is like a yellow flower.
This sounds like what I planned on doing to my kid if I ever had one. Was like I was going to take just one word and tell him it's the wrong word, like the word is pickle. Something fucked up, like just something simple that when they would grow up, they'd be like, "Dude, that is a pickle," and they're looking at a dog.
I mean, with the internet, good luck, because Google image would come up right away. But so think like Captain Fantastic, which is a movie I also love, is like the way more mainstream version of this, of some, a parent who, even more, this is more out there even than The Village, like helicopter parents who just create like a whole society and reality to try to protect their kids. And of course, the moral is that this is the wrong way to go. And the fucking, the things that happen out of this are really dark and disturbing. And he just likes to fucking tap into the psyche of people and like the awful things they do and what can happen. Like he does take, the idea of being overprotective to the extreme, but I think it's more effective that way. And you can maybe, if you're a parent, take something out of this, like, the dangers of being overprotective. But I just enjoyed it as a psychological look at what parents and children do. So
yeah, it's fucked up when you leave people to their own,
Yeah, I'm giving an employee pick, but, with the caveat that I enjoy all of his other films, and this is like even a step further out there from, the previous films, The Lobster, Killing of a Sacred Deer, and especially The Favorite. The Favorite is like his most mainstream and easily digestible film to date.
Yeah, and look, she won a fucking Oscar.
Yeah, Olivia Colman, well deserved. All right, man, our final one is one of the biggest movies out right now.
Shazam!
We both saw Shazam in theaters. This is the
you gotta say it like that. Shazam!
Shazam.
No, come on.
Shazam!
All right.
I can hear you're like one of those people. Are you excited? And then they react, and then you say, "I can't."
I'm just saying, like, if you grabbed onto the staff, do you think that your Shazam was going to be worthy changing it? I don't think so.
So this, of course, is about a streetwise. That's how we're describing him, like a smart-ass kid, 14-year-old foster kid, can now turn into an adult superhero. Shazam!
Shazam!
If you have a television, if you're a person who listens to movie podcasts, you've seen trailers for this. It's been pretty well hyped up, and I'll put it out there first. Like, I like this movie. I thought it was really effective. I am totally aware that most of these stories originated as, for kids. And this one especially has always sold that tone in every trailer, every advertisement, that this is more fun-loving, more goofy than your average superhero movie.
Yeah, it's no fucking Christian Bale Dark Knight situation over here. But from DC, this is an impressive step forward for them. And I think that was my first caveat. Probably only caveat going into this movie was like, well, it's made by those fuckers that ruined Suicide Squad, so let's see what happens. But honestly, it was really enjoyable. It was a fun, endearing, loving character. I think Zachary Levi did an amazing job playing this kid trapped in a, superhero's body to an extent. I love the little call out to Big, if you saw that with the piano. It was just really fun and enjoyable. I think the only thing that kind of laid me a little bit down on it was the kid that played the Billy Batson was a little bit not as enthusiastic, or I don't know. He didn't seem as awkward and convincing as Zachary Levi did playing a kid trapped in a superhero's body.
Yeah, for you said there was like kind of like a disconnect between the two characters. Like you just weren't buying that they were the same person.
That was pretty much it. But otherwise, it's still a great story. It's fun. Mark Strong is amazing. The CGI was good.
I agree. Complain. Yeah, I thought it had a good look. Production quality definitely there. And you think at this point that wouldn't be an issue, but it still comes up with some of these big budget movies. The action looked good. I like the cast. I thought what they did with the family aspect of it was really good, and I think it's going to strike a chord. I can imagine that if you are a foster parent or foster child, you're probably going to come out of this with, without dry eyes. for sure.
Yeah, you're gonna be like, I could be a superhero too.
Yeah, I like that they went for a wholesome, honest approach. Like a lot of these superhero movies there's too much similarities between them. There's a lot of like the push to make them feel so important and like the feel of self-importance in them. And I do think they take the characters seriously, but they're having fun along the way. And I judge things based on what their intentions were. I think this movie succeeded in everything it wanted to be. And I didn't have that issue with the disconnect. I thought all the characters were really well done. A great villain. He did have. They didn't really go into it too much, but on the surface, you could see how Mark Strong. I thought his intro and the way the movie opened with his origin story was really cool and really smart because we kind of get what Shazam is through the trailers. We didn't need that right away. So
right.
That was a really interesting and smart setup. But yeah, like he's just a click off from being the hero in this. That to me, it's a good villain where you kind of get you maybe not empathize with them or on their side, but you can understand why they turned out that way.
No, absolutely. I mean, the whole plot line with his, his dad and his brother in that situation, that can condition somebody over time to have some real negative tendencies. So
yeah,
I think.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Go.
Honestly, like a lot of these superhero movies, they have very generic ideas that are, like the plot of this, the villain and, his shadow monsters, what they mean. Like this is like 101 good versus evil stuff. But they did put like a new glossy finish on top of it. And it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. And it's really good. I came out like really enjoying this movie.
Yeah, I as well. I thought it was definitely just a fun, wholesome, and feel-good type movie with just great character qualities all around from the supporting cast as well. It made it just a solid watch. The kid that grabs a lamp and stuff. And he's like, what are you going to do with a lamp?
Yeah. The comedy almost always hit. The subtle references to other DC things were good too. I guess they're trying to build a universe with that, with jokes. I've seen some cynical reviews. Cynics, if you're cynical for sake of being cynical, obviously you're going to fucking drag this movie. I get it. Like, someone called it like a PG Deadpool wannabe thing because it's self-referential and fun. I don't think Deadpool owns that. I don't think this is anything like that. I think this is more of like superhero by the way of big or by like 1980s.
Exactly. It's more on the big side of things.
Yeah, 1980s optimism is something I could compare it to. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. And if you're a parent, I think this is a good bridge to superhero movies that you may not be comfortable having your children watch quite yet. This stuff like this and Bumblebee could kind of like, hold their appetite until they're old enough or mature enough in your eyes to watch something like Dark Knight.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. It was super great. The only thing I was hoping more storyline of the evil beings or what have you that Mark Strong was in possession of. Because it seemed like everyone else already knew what was happening with those guys. I was like, I don't feel like they told us too much about just what the fuck they came from. But again, these are nitpicking little things of a really good and fun watch.
You think the other characters in the world knew what they were, or just like audience?
Yes, the other characters. Somebody even had some lines like, "That's the sin," something. I'm like, wait, when the fuck did they find that out? Because, fuck. They just
that. They said it in the beginning.
No. I got that part of it, but I'm saying as far as their backstory, their want for evil, how they ended up in that position, kind of situation. I felt like it could have been a little more, but also it wasn't. What they were was never explained to the other people in the movie, and then they already knew, kind of thing. I was like, hey,
gotcha.
You shouldn't know that because they only talked about it once.
Yeah. But you would like expect that it's a movie that exists in a world that has comic books and movies. Like obviously, like the kid's wearing an Aquaman shirt, like and Superman backpack. So he just kind of gets it. Shit, I had another point and I totally forgot it.
I don't know.
Because I was paying attention to you.
But it wasn't that little nerd kid, by the way, that I'm referencing.
Yeah, he was good. They were all good, and the movie did spend more time setting up the family and the characters. So when that big ending happens. Like that works and you care about them. Like it would work I mean, I wouldn't typically watch a kind of movie, but just the family dynamic enough was so well, and I think that's a common misstep for these superhero movies where the side characters are just not well thought of. They're
just accessories and not complementary.
Exactly, where they flesh these characters out, and they all meant something. The stakes are raised because you care about all these characters. You know how much Shazam / Billy cares about these characters.
Shazam!
Yeah. So yeah, it's a good one.
Did you see Jerry, by the way? Jerry from Walking Dead. He was the father.
I thought he did a really good job too. It's good seeing those guys get roles that aren't so stereotypical.
Right, for sure. No, I think this was a great spot for him.
Yep. So yeah, go watch it while it's still in theaters. It's a lot of fun. But if you don't like what we said, or you already saw everything we mentioned, we got you.
Go fuck yourself. What?
It's time for...
That's not what you were saying?
Only if you want to. That's a suggestion, as are the WTWs for April 8th through 14th, a.k.a. What to Watch This Week. On Netflix, there's a movie called Silence coming out.
Silence.
Yeah. Josh, tell me if this sounds familiar. Does this sound like anything that's been out recently?
A family struggles
to survive in a world terrorized by a deadly primeval species who hunt only with their acute hearing.
Frank hits roadblocks in sentences.
I was pausing for dramatics, but does that sound familiar to you?
No, I've never heard of a Bird Box.
Yeah. Make sure you watch this. Make sure you watch this in a quiet place, is all I'm saying. This has Kieran Shipka, who's the Netflix's like.
But you know who it does have?
And the Tooch.
Tucci Gang, Tucci Gang, Tucci Gang, Tucci Gang, Tucci Gang.
Yeah, Tucci Gang. That's good. We should have wrote a better joke around that. But yeah, I'm a member of Tucci Gang.
Oh yeah, love me some Tooch.
Yeah. All right. So
bald and glasses. Fuck yeah.
If you don't mind watching 3 movies within a calendar year of very similar plots, just to see the Tooch, maybe The Silence is for you. That's on Netflix on April 12th. Over on Hulu, because Amazon Prime struck out this week, is Destroyer with Nicole Kidman. This is about a police detective who reconnects with people from an undercover assignment in her distant past in order to make peace. You gave it a lukewarm, take it or leave it, correct?
Oof, that's correct. More on the weak side of it was a struggle watch for me.
I'm still gonna watch it. So
do it. Fucking watch it. You'll be like, I fucking love this shit. What is wrong with you?
You nailed my voice. I'll tell you that much.
Thank you.
HBO Go has, of course, on Sunday, the 14th, Game of Thrones, the final season debuts. But they got a movie coming out. Crazy Rich Asians is going to be out on April 13th. Oh, by the way, Destroyer's April 8th. Crazy Rich Asians, April 13th. This is a contemporary romantic comedy based upon the global best-selling book. I'm selling this in this plot summary. Follows the native New Yorker Rachel Chu to Singapore to meet her boyfriend's family. I had a lot of fun with this movie. It's a one and done for me. It's, a live action, realistic adult fairy tale type rom-com. It was over the top ridiculous. There's great comedic performances. Awkwafina was fantastic in this. The whole cast was really good. So it was sincere and fun. So it's hard to really dislike unless you're cynical. So if you don't like Shazam, you probably won't like Crazy Rich Asians.
Fair enough. Wait, what?
You okay?
Yeah, wait, because never mind. Go ahead.
No, it's just like, they're not similar movies, but they're similar in like what they're trying to do. VOD rental is a bunch of movies that we did not recommend and didn't like, so sorry, go back and watch some stuff we suggested last week. But now in theaters for April 12th, we have Hellboy, which, if you haven't heard, is based on the graphic novels by Mike Mignola.
Not starring Ron Perlman.
No, we got a new Hellboy. Our man from Stranger Things, David Harbour. If you don't know who Hellboy is, he's caught between the worlds of the supernatural and the human, and he battles ancient sorceress bent on revenge. I like the second Hellboy movie better than the first. I don't think this is necessary. I don't really care that much about Hellboy, but I'm going to check it out. Just for the sake of the podcast. My brother really wants to watch it too.
Okay, fair enough. I got nothing against it. I'm a fan. I'm a semi-fan.
Okay. Do you think you're going to check it out?
I don't know if I'm that big of a fan.
This is where having a movie subscription service, these are the kind of movies you're like, yeah, sure, I'll go watch this.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, if I have to like pay like a full $14 or some shit for this, not so much. Not so much.
Then we have a new animated movie called Missing Link, also out this weekend. This is about Mr. Link. He recruits explorer Sir Lionel Frost to help him find his long lost relatives. Thank you. In the fabled valley of Shangri-La, along with adventurer Adelina Fortnite, this trio of explorers travel the world to help their new friend. It does have an interesting animation style, and like the body shapes of the people are really weird. They have like this pot belly, like vase type body structure. I don't know. It's just goofy looking. I don't know if I'm going to watch it. It's got your boy Timothy Olyphant lending his voice along with Hugh Jackman, Zoe Saldana.
Yeah, but not his beautiful smile. So
yeah, it's like any anime movie that's made for more
I'm
than
aware,
$5 has a shitload of celebrity voices that we all know because that
true.
apparently brings parents to the theaters. So those two are out, man. That's pretty much it for the show. Anything you'd like to add? Anything you want to tease for next week besides Pet Sematary?
I think I saw a Vigilante coming up on my list of things with the Olivia Wilde violent movie, kind of similar to Destroyer. Maybe we can have a powerful ass-kickery woman segment.
Hey, man, I'm all about it.
Oh, yeah, because equality is cool. I've got nothing else, really. Just a couple of random shows. And actually, I am next week. I'm going to see Norm Macdonald.
Oh,
live.
Shit. Cool.
Yes, so that is going to be great, and the Capitals will start their Stanley Cup run next week, so I will be an emotional wreck.
That'd be cool to document. We haven't talked about your hockey fandom yet, but yeah, and I just
you don't want to. It'll take up too long of this podcast.
Yeah, maybe we should start reviewing like stand-up comedy shows when we're short on movies, because I saw Dave Attell and Michelle Wolf in the past 8 days.
Oh, that's impressive.
Yeah. They're both really good. Catch them. Just go to if you have a stand-up comedy club near you, just go support it. And more, if you don't like the acts that show up, they'll eventually get better acts. You help grow that community.
Yeah, it is important, especially for failed people that try and attempt it occasionally. We need you there.
Yeah, do it. Support those open micers. And
do it. So where can people find us, Frank?
Yeah, don't forget to tip your service people, and don't forget to support your local podcast. We're on Facebook, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Podbean, iTunes. You found us on one of those. We have an Instagram, we have a Facebook, we have a Snapchat.
Do we post like cleavage selfies?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, but it's not. It's neither one of us. It's our armpits zoomed in.
Oh, that sounds very impressive.
Yeah. So thanks for listening. Sometimes, like this very moment, I wonder why anyone would, but hopefully we found some cool shit for you to watch.
Yeah. Well. I love beans.
Go to bed.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.